It says I'm live now. Let's see how much of the previous conversation was caught in the stream. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another, well, not so much weekly political recap stream because we've both been busy. Here on the Moisky Live channel. Yes, sorry about the knuckle cracking. Joining me as always for this rather interesting 2 weeks is, as you can see, my delicious co-host, Trupsy Wupsy. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups.
As you can see, everyone, we've got a little different, a little change. It's going to change again for the sake of it. But for now, this is how we're going to look. I don't look like I've been finished, but you know what? It doesn't matter. How is Trups?
Trups is chilling. I'm doing all right. It's fucking hot as shit, dude. It's been hot in the majority of this country. Like, we've been hitting some ungodly amounts of heat indexes on our end. But I believe Italy takes the cake with, 129 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, that does go some way as to explain why the United Kingdom has yet to experience any summer at all. Today,
yes,
it's been like, I don't know, 18 at most degrees. 17. It was 17 today. It's not been. 21 yesterday. 21 is room temperature for those who don't use the other numbers. Essentially,
right. For those who speak freedom, that's about.
That's a bit ironic since one of the subjects we're going to cover. Yeah, nah.
Shut up. Yeah. Shut up. I don't need. It's cope, okay? It's
cope. It's cope. All right. But yeah, it's been very. I'm dreading the winter because usually when you get a cool summer here, you get a brutal winter. So I'm expecting it, but who knows? I do feel sorry for anyone who has to deal with the humidity over there. The humidity especially, that's the part that I think kills all of us.
Yes, it does. You know what's even more fun about that is that I smoke, obviously, like while we're doing these streams. And I have to keep my window open, which sucks because I'm in the South. Therefore, I have to deal with a lot of humidity. And it gets so bad sometimes that while my air is blowing almost all the time, I also have a fan in here, it actually will create condensate like on the vent, the AC, which is directly above that window. So every night before I go to sleep, I basically have to take a towel and slap the damn thing until it's dry so that it doesn't accumulate mold.
Just because I want to be that guy. You know there's a way around that, right?
Do tell.
You stop smoking!
Yeah, fuck off.
As I don't smoke, I can't quite, in my head, reason the whole, yeah.
Well, to be honest, it's a hookah, so it doesn't cause the same amount of issues as cigarette smoke would to your walls.
That's fair.
However, it sets off my fucking fire alarm.
That's tragic. That is tragic.
So, of course.
Oh, well, a big F to you for that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, let me just install an exhaust fan in this room. That would be great. Actually, that would help a lot.
Exhaust fan?
Yeah. So like in your bathroom, when you turn on the fan, then it draws the...
No, we don't. They're not so common here.
Ah.
We just open the window and it just naturally leaves. Sorry. It's like the whole thing with air conditioning. If it's not unless it's in a shop, generally speaking, we don't have air conditioning. Hence why the big fuss I made last year about acquiring air conditioning.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what's funny? Seattle, when I was up there, they actually have cars that don't come with air conditioning.
Yeah, we call them British over here.
Yeah, they made a horrible mistake buying those cars because the week after I left, it was like 100.
There's only so much speed you can generate where it still doesn't help. You can't go fast enough for it to be suddenly cool in your car. I like air conditioning in cars. It's portable.
I like air conditioning, period.
I do too, but we don't use it as much.
Anywho's.
Because it's not been warm enough. Yes, anywho's.
Hello?
Hello?
Lag.
Oh, okay. My apologies. My end says green. My apologies. Okay.
Meg is dead.
What? What? No, I'm here. You're...
Oh, it's me.
Oh, is it you?
I can't hear you, unfortunately. So, hang on.
Okay, he's gonna fix that. I'll start. So, as many of you in the United Kingdom will have heard, Prince Andrew, Duke of, I don't know, one of those areas. He might be the Duke of York. I don't actually know which one he is. One of Queen Elizabeth's sons, not an heir to the throne, though. That is Charles, and then William, and then I think George. He's, I'd say for the last 2 years, been under a considerable amount of scrutiny. The scrutiny has in turn cost him basically every job, every patronage, everything he has ever done and worked for and built is gone. He's essentially the Queen's, nothing son. He's more of a nothing than Prince Edward. He's just a nobody now. But he is such a quintessential royal and looks like one that he draws a lot of attention because of how poorly he manages to, let's say, people and handle interactions when it comes to criticisms. And, of course, people trying to ascertain facts from events that have been already passed on to the police and then journalists, presenters. If anyone remembers the 2-hour interview he gave, was it Newsnight?
I'm back, by the way.
Welcome back. He gave an interview, and it was the most embarrassing thing he'd ever done because he claimed that he simply just, he doesn't sweat, which is a strange one, but it was one of the things he had to mention. He mentioned he had never met, what's the girl's name? What's her name? Virginia Roberts, isn't it? Virginia Roberts. Which, again, was proven not true, because pictures, although they could have been doctored, unlikely though. But the newest allegation from Virginia Roberts, which has led to an investigation across the water, not here, is that Jeffrey Epstein had flown Virginia Roberts at the age of 17 to the United Kingdom, to Kensington Townhouse, which belonged to Ghislaine, is that it? Maxwell?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And she was paid $15,000 and coerced to have sex with, well, not sex, but other words, with Prince Andrew. She has also made some other claims in this. For example, he sweats like a pig, which is impossible because Prince Andrew stopped sweating during the Falklands War. That's when he stopped sweating, everyone. You should just, accept that as truth. So this accusation's come out, and the issue is that the UK can't investigate it because it's a bit of a weird one. In the US, in some states, she was 17 and therefore not of legal age. Whereas in the UK, where the incident took place, she was of legal age. The issue here is the part where it concerns coercion, because I'm not entirely sure how anyone's going to prove that. So while there are people like the head of the Met Office saying that they're ready to assist the FBI and that no one is above the law, in reality, what could the FBI possibly do? Because they have to prove coercion, and it's not the easiest to prove, especially since one of the people involved is, no longer on this mortal coil. Even though he didn't, end himself. Dead meme, I know.
It's still true.
I know. The other issue is it is possible to sue a royal. It absolutely is. But how you're going to do it, the UK government, as it stands, would be very unlikely to hand. Did you hear that in the background of my end?
I heard like a clap.
Okay, it was actually an exhaust for Big Dick Energy.
Sick.
Yeah, it sounded like.
I'm glad he's back.
It's like a renaissance. The government more than likely wouldn't do it. because it's the royal family, even though enough of a negative light has been shone on the royal family that many are starting to speculate that Prince Andrew, on his own, could well actually bring about an end to the royal family because of what he's doing, but only because he just doesn't know how. He's so out of touch, he doesn't understand how to properly address the situation. Although, and at the same time, and by the way, as much as we like to send people to you guys whenever you request someone for extradition, he'd be an exception to this. Not because we want to protect, but because, well, it's a bit of an odd case, and Epstein's passing would have safety issues written all over it, and you know what I mean. If they make,
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea at all. And so he can simply just stay here, hide behind his mother and then his brother, then his nephew, and receive a little stipend for the remainder of his years. I do think, so people are asking that he should, saying that he should do, for example, his duty. And when they say this, what they mean is he should surrender himself and face, the US and properly take on the US civil lawsuit that's been brought against him. I don't think it'll amount to anything. And to add to that, the UK's Metropolitan Police have conducted a third review, which yes does open a possibility of something like a criminal referral, but it's their third review of the case. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, and the issue, and as much as it's again one of those really odd positions where a accusation has been levied at somebody, but it's all in the public eye. So optics wise, Prince Andrew will never win. He will never win in the slightest. There's no version of this where he does. Because it's all about, as many of us have seen over the years, listen and believe. Virginia Roberts, clearly in this case, is considered a saint. I'm not saying she's lying. I can't say that because it has to be proven whether she's telling the truth or telling a lie, if that makes sense. So this being all public is another area I take a bit of issue with. I think it's an odd one because it's a very public figure. Even though, to be honest, of all the royals to go for, he's not really that important, to be honest. He's not even remotely important these days. If anything, before the accusations, no one really gave a shit about him. And it was quite...
Hey, monkey.
Sup, yo. What do you think?
Now, okay, so I think this is more about drumming up press around the royal family because I don't know how much Harry has been in the news for you guys, but it's kind of slowed down.
Oh, you mean his...
Which was a major point of traffic,
okay,
I know.
There was one thing. There was one thing about him. It was some biographer or something for them, or assistant, had admitted that they desperately wanted to go to Obama's birthday party. And my first thought was, but no one's socially distancing. Carry on.
Yeah, well, that's a thing too. But the I think they're just trying to drum up news about the royal family. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I think it's a big nothing burger with the Prince Andrew thing. Like, don't get me wrong, the things that he's accused of, if true, bad.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Also, the fact that we're keeping Epstein in the news, great. I actually think that he needs to continue to be in the news until everything is fucking resolved. Which, by the way, it won't be.
No, it won't.
But I would love for it to continue to be that way because that'd be really nice. So I don't really know, but I saw people talking about this, but you kind of know when things don't gain a whole lot of traction when it's just one day.
Yeah.
So I saw it for one day for like maybe 4 hours, and that was it. So I think it's full. I think it's just grasping at views, honestly.
Yeah. There is an additional quote. I perhaps will end with this part. Cressida Dick, as much as I don't like her, during the LBC interview she gave, she mentioned that there was a. No, she said that is there evidence of a crime? Is this the right justification for this to be dealt with? And is the person against whom the crime is alleged still alive? We have concluded that there is no investigation for us to open, and we haven't opened one, believing that it was the right decision after advice from the Crown Prosecution Service and 2 reviews. That 3rd review obviously came after this. I think the review will say exactly the same thing. There is not enough evidence. As much as an accusation can be, damaging, there is, what it is, and a public, especially if it's public, without anything to support it, it just reminds me of the frickin' Ford thing on Brett Kavanaugh. Just bollocks, quite frankly.
Yeah, basically, it's just they're just trying to drum up. I guess maybe they're also riding on the coattails of Andrew Cuomo, which is actually worked if you want to just seamlessly transition to that.
You know what? Let's go to Cuomo then. I'm just gonna find the right sort. Okay, go on then.
All right, so
center stage.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has resigned.
Whoa!
I know.
Took a while, didn't
actually,
it?
a lot of people are excited, and some people, like Alec Baldwin, are very upset.
Why?
I don't know. Alec Baldwin was like, "It's a shame that he was forced to resign." At which point, everyone looked at him and said, "Are you fucking nuts?" He tweeted it out, basically saying like, "Oh, it was a shame."
I was just surprised that he actually did. Firstly, he got busted. Right, that part surprised me. I kept a source from a tweet thread from Sinatra about him getting busted for sexual harassment, and people deputized special people to investigate. Although I don't know what he meant by special people. It's just the wrong word. But yeah, I evidence revealing deeply disturbing harassment of state employees and other state officials. A lot of young employees. It shocked me that this even happened because I wasn't.
Does it shock you?
Well, no, I'm surprised it actually happened. That's what surprised me.
Oh, like him resigning? Yes.
The fact that he got busted, no, we knew that because you and I were talking about it. We're like, how is he not resigned yet? I take the same stance of he does he have to resign? Well, I prefer things to actually be proven first.
So it did actually happen?
Yep.
So.
But when the accusations first started, I didn't think it was right for him to resign then straight away. Obviously, the argument being he has pushed a lot of the ideas of, if you're being accused of something, you should step aside, kind of thing. He supported those kind of people, promoted those ideas.
Yes, definitely he did. There's a couple pictures of him and Pelosi attending like anti-harassment public events.
Yeah, but I didn't think he should resign then. Once he was busted, sayonara.
Right, exactly. So when the Attorney General finally came out with their, I think her name was Letitia James, I believe.
Yeah, Letitia James. I've got the name here. Attorney General Letitia James.
They came out with the 165-page report, which culminated 5 months of investigation.
200 people.
That said that the accounts from 11 women who say the governor engaged in a pattern of unwanted touching and inappropriate remarks. Many of the women had already gone public, but the document contains at least 2 previously unreported allegations of sexual misconduct by the governor. So we knew about a lot of this because I don't remember when the accusations had first come out, but I remember hearing about it and going, "Yeah, that's not a surprise to me at all, actually." I kind of figured, what's the unfortunate for politicians? It's the louder you scream against something, the more likely you are to be guilty of said thing.
Yes, there is a thing I'm looking at here.
At least, that
it says 8
a lot
women
of the time.
say he made offensive, condescending, or sexual comments. 7 say he inappropriately touched or groped them, and 4 allege he kissed them without consent.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Now Cuomo originally, when the Attorney General's report had first come out, he said, "No, I'm not going to resign," and he even had a pre-recorded response that was actually assisted in the creation of said response by his brother, Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo, who works for CNN, he's an anchor, and also is a frequent breaker of COVID-19 protocol, by the way.
Dickhead.
Yes, completely. Including all his partying in the Hamptons maskless while complaining that everybody else parties maskless. Fuck
Hypocrisy,
off. Okay.
thy name is Chris.
Well, it's thy name is Democrats.
I'm not going to say
Thy
that.
name is the Sarah Cuomo in the
God.
chat. As someone from upstate New York, seeing that snake resign makes me moist with joy.
Oh dear.
Well, the comment, cool. Your last name, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh God, that's unfortunate.
Such snakes.
Yeah,
I do want to add.
I feel you.
When the report was first released and he was kind of busted, he didn't resign initially, did he?
No.
And,
he had released that report or that response.
Biden had said, I think he should. I understand
Yes.
that the state legislature may decide to impeach. I don't know that for a fact. I've not read all the data. I had heard about the possibility of impeachment, and my first thought was, they won't do that. They have to have someone to take his place.
Actually, they were seriously prepping to do so.
Yeah,
which I think is why he ended up resigning.
I think it was the straw to me that broke the camel's back. But I didn't think they would pull the trigger. Then I realized, actually, no, that they would, because while it is a safe democratic state, they could just find someone else.
Right, and also, they need to make themselves look good, right?
Yeah.
Like, the Democrats are in the business of virtue signaling and making their image that which is, the most virtuous to the public.
Sure.
So when something like this happens, they need to hold that person accountable.
Agreed.
Otherwise, then they get caught in their own lies, and they'll get reamed for it.
Yeah, they will.
Which they have in the past several times when they don't hold up the same standards as, for like Ilhan Omar, for instance.
Interesting little statistic to add to all this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Apparently, it was nearly 6 in 10 New Yorkers felt that Cuomo should resign before he announced his resignation. I have just found a source. Yeah, the majority of the New York Assembly members supported the impeachment of Cuomo if he did not resign.
Mm.
Yeah. He was screwed.
Honestly, he needed to. Like, in order to hold any sort... Well, also, this is an important thing. He needed to resign if he ever wanted to be in office again.
Well, that's the thing, because now that he has walked away and that the impeachment has been suspended, he could actually, because the door's been open, he can seek re-election in 2022.
Correct.
Which I find
think
fascinating.
He's going to try.
If he can in that time before the election do anything to debunk any that has been in that report, then yes. But because of what's in that report, mate, you need to sit down and go home and retire, because your political career is officially dead.
Correct. I don't think he's going to, though. I think he's going to try to come back, because he's got a great asset in his brother on CNN. Because I'm sure you've seen plenty of people who only watch certain things, right?
Yes.
So when they watch CNN, they see Chris Cuomo talking about the unfortunate circumstances of misunderstanding that led his brother to have this issue. And the people will actually watch CNN and go, yeah, you're right. That I think that's fair. I don't think he deserved all the shit that he got, because people will just hear it that way.
Yes.
They just will hear it that way.
Right.
And I legitimately think that with his access, having Chris Cuomo in CNN, people will actually come out and say, no, I support him.
Yeah.
Which was just horrible.
There is something to add to that, actually, in the form of, so with the impeachment being suspended, going to the air quote relevant authorities end air quotes, New York Republicans have announced that they believe this smacks of a backroom deal to protect Cuomo, citing the double standard of endless proceedings and investigations into Trump when he was president. And yet, as we both know, and as the majority of those who watch this know, the vast amount of those investigations into Trump were bollocks. Like, there was nothing to them. They voted to impeach when there was nothing to prove anything. It was a massive nothing burger, and it got made into something. So, if it's been stopped, and it might be conspiratorial, but the argument is that if it's been stopped and it's going to these relevant authorities, does it not look like a deal, or do you think they're protecting someone that could, do something for them?
Well, I definitely think it's a deal, certainly. But that doesn't mean that it's also not a method of protecting people.
Yeah.
I think it's both, because apparently, I forget which news organization uncovered this, allegedly, but they uncovered that the Attorney General had been talking with Fox News about a potential political run for her as a governor. So, of course, the Democrats jump on that, saying, they're colluding. I'm not using that word, but they're talking to one another. They're conspiring to help somebody else's political career. At which point, most people said, "Yeah, no shit. That's what always happens."
Yeah. So do you want to
yeah?
Do you want to hear something interesting?
Always.
So there is an opinion piece I saw from the Financial Times saying that after Cuomo's downfall, New York reconsiders its political bullies. And what they mean by that is the strongman type politician. And what they cite for this is actually what he managed to achieve in the decade in office, which included building bridges, revamping airports. His building record, in fact, is what he's most well known for, Cuomo, that is, and touching people, allegedly. But the idea that the strong man in office is dying off, as many believe, especially with what happened concerning the Me Too movement, young progressives rising up, although I don't believe that's the correct term for them. Yep. But there was one other aspect to this opinion piece that actually tied into something you told me about before we started. And it was... Right, so there was an unintended symmetry that when Andrew Cuomo, announced his resignation in a roughly 20-minute address, the same day the U.S. Senate passed... You know where this is going.
Yes, the $1.2 trillion infrastructure plan. Not only was it the same day, mind you, but it was, in fact, the same exact hour.
Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So, give me 1 second as I adjust the coals on my hookah real quick.
He's getting an erection.
Yes, well, I stood, so I guess that is technically what that is.
Yep.
Yes, so the $1.2 trillion infrastructure plan. Now, this passed through the Senate specifically. Now, that is important.
Why?
Well, because it's not yet fully law yet. The House still has to vote on it.
That's interesting. I have a query then before you get into this.
Sure.
Usually in our country, it has to go through the Commons first and then the second chamber. I always thought that for you, the first would be the House and then the Senate.
You would be right. Typically, that is how it goes.
Right.
However, they have the ability to do it vice versa, and there are plenty of instances where they have in the past. But typically, you'll find that the House is more likely to push bills in because they have less time in office, right? So they have 2
hours, don't they? Yeah.
They want to get their stuff done. Meanwhile, senators have 6.
Yeah.
So they have the time to sit and mull over their thoughts.
One more question.
Yes.
Why do the Senate get 2 years more than that of a president?
Because if you had the ability for, let's say senators had 4-year terms, then you could actually constantly be flip-flopping.
Okay, that answers that.
Like all policies. They could literally, you may live in a country at that point where nothing ever remains the same.
Okay, well that answers that for me. Thank you very much.
Yes. So yes, the $1.2 billion bipartisan infrastructure bill. So this passed with all the Democrats plus 19 GOP senators. I'm not too thrilled with it, and I'm going to try to do my best to explain why.
We have, disclaimer, discussed it before on previous streams, but I can't for the life of me tell you which ones. But this is a very important sort of recap of what that bill was about, because I remember us vehemently chastising the trash within it.
Yes. I don't know if it was the same one, though, and, trying to be as fair as possible. I don't know if it's the exact same one that we had seen earlier. Now, I have a breakdown of it here. Roads, bridges, and major projects, $110 billion. Passenger and freight rail, $66 billion. Broadband infrastructure, $65. Water infrastructure, meaning eliminating lead pipes.
Okay.
That's $55 billion. Public transit, $39.2 billion. Flood wildlife mitigation, ecosystem restoration, weatherization, and cybersecurity, $47.2 billion. Electric vehicle infrastructure, $7.5 billion. Legacy pollution, including cleaning up brownfield and Superfund sites, abandoned mines.
Brownfield sites
oil
are
and
valuable.
gas.
Brownfield sites are fantastic. We abuse them over here now to repurpose them for new residential developments.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yes. That's $21 billion, and then there's some more of new financing. Yeah. So repurposing unused COVID-19 relief funds, which makes me a little like, okay, like why not? You guys complain that we're still in a problem, so why don't we we fix that?
Did anyone ever get that $2,000 Biden promised?
Eventually we did.
That's nice. At least he kept his word.
Yeah, something like that. We had sales of future Spectrum auctions and proceeds of February 2021 C-band auction. Don't know what the fuck that is.
Does anyone?
$87 billion. Probably not. Return of unemployment insurance funds from some states, $53 billion. Delaying Medicare Part D rebate, $51 billion. Applying infrastructure reporting requirements to crypto, $28 billion. Reinstating Superfund fees, $14.5 billion. And yeah, so that's yeah. We've got plenty of crap. Plenty of crap.
I remember the COVID. It was the 1.2 trillion one that we talked about that was meant to be for COVID, and was it like only 300 billion of it actually went to the people or something?
Why, yes.
That was just such stupid. I'm sorry, but that was the dumbest bill I'd ever seen. Oh, I know. We'll give them money, but what we'll do elsewhere is infrastructure. It's a buzzword, and everyone loves it. How about you give the people the money you said you'd give them, and stop claiming you're going to put it somewhere else for an investment? I like that you mentioned electric vehicles, and it got one of the lowest investments.
I actually do like that one.
I do,
honestly.
but he got one of the lowest investments. I'm sorry. Clearly, no faith was in it. I think brownfield sites got 3 times the amount.
Yes, it did. So the reason why I'm mixed on it is because I don't like that we're spending so much goddamn money. We are literally in a situation where we are facing extreme levels of inflation right now. Like it is not even fucking funny.
You're going to have another crash again. You're going to crash like 2008 all over again.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I'm telling you right now.
It's going to happen under a president, and this might sound a bit harsh, but I'd rather it land on this guy because then people will stop treating him like he's a saint. I don't want it to happen at all, though. I don't want it to happen, but it's going to under a president. It's going to happen in the next 10 years easily because spending is out of control again.
Oh, absolutely. And not only is it out of control, but there is no way in hell that we are going to be able to pay back this money or make back this money in a reasonable amount of time.
Nope. Your interest actually. You.
Oh, it's going to be awful.
The worst part is, unlike in the UK, you guys do budgets in Congress and all that, don't you? Yeah? Yeah. It's never going to get approved. Because anything that means hurting the people more... Oh, no, we can't do that because we need to keep our jobs. We can't spend any more, though, because we don't have any more. So, we need these services, that we can't afford these... I guess we'll just shut down then. By the way, you mentioned spending. Fun fact, in the UK, our Chancellor and our Prime Minister are at loggerheads, to the point where the Prime Minister, no lie, threatened to demote, air quotes, Tonto, to Health Secretary... Because while Boris wants to spend, Rishi Sunak, who they both live in Downing Street, one in next door to each other essentially, Rishi Sunak has said no because we don't have any people coming in and spending money. Therefore, we don't have the money to spend. So they're at loggerheads on what to do financially, and it's because Boris wants to try. And...
I don't recognize that phrase. What is loggerheads exactly?
They don't see eye to eye on this.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Loggerheads, they're clashing, and like two swords. There you go. In the sense that Boris is trying to be all optimistic and outgoing and all that bollocks. Rishi's like, you do realise the only person with money in this country is my wife, right? It's pretty much that at the moment. And I actually would prefer Rishi Sunak because he's being honest enough to say it. Whereas Boris's first thought is, we need to demote him. We're not due a crash yet, though, so...
Well, you're lucky, because I expect ours to be very, very soon.
Oh, and there I was thinking I could buy the state of Montana. Maybe I can if you're in
Flint. You really want Montana?
I like the trees, okay?
Uh-huh.
I could, I don't know, give iPhones to the Amish.
Ah, of course.
Carry on.
That's what they need. No, so I just don't like that we're spending all this money. Is really what it all comes down to.
Is that because you're more fiscally conservative, or?
I am, but at the same time, like I agree that we need certain infrastructure. Like we need something. Right, it's not going great, and we definitely need something to fix the issue at the moment. I don't know what it is. Infrastructure sounds like a great way to start it. The problem is that I don't trust the highway, the Department of Transportation. I don't trust whatever the Department of the Interior is technically for us.
Right.
I don't think they're gonna do a good job.
Imagine my shock. It's a big surprise.
Yeah.
Better off buying Happy Meals for everyone.
So it just pisses me off. I don't know necessarily more about it. I'm a little pissed off that they have the audacity to complain about, the fucking, oh, these people are trying to drive up the debt and all this stuff. Like, because a lot of these fucking Republicans are making these giant grandstands on Twitter about this infrastructure bill, but then they vote for a $1 trillion infrastructure bill that they wouldn't even let Trump do. So it feels like such bullshit.
It's like they blinked. They're like, they've rolled over. Here, rub my belly. I did something for you. Now do me a favor, give suck.
Yeah, kind of. Pretty much, yeah, actually. So it's I'm not a fan. I'm going to grit and accept it, but I am a conscious objector of this infrastructure ban. And not in particular the fact that they did it during a press conference for Andrew Cuomo. I don't know if that was intentional or just so happened to happen that way.
It is a bit of a coincidence, really, though, isn't it?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
it takes so much attention off Cuomo, I guess, as well. But then I barely heard about this this bill passing, actually. I mean,
exactly.
So you'd think it'd take the edge off, but actually they just, under the rug. Hey, look, Cuomo, you got center stage. Do us a solid. Let us get this out there quick, and we'll help you in 2022. Or for the rest of this year, I guess, while you rerun for election. Isn't it? For the rest of this year, there's an election now for them, isn't it?
I don't know if they're going to end up doing like a snap election.
Well, you need a governor, don't you?
Yes. But I don't know
send the red coats
if
in?
his resignation is effective immediately or what the fuck is going on.
Alright, we'll send the blue coats in then.
Sure, yeah, we could do that. That sounds like a plan. No, I don't like it. It's not one of the things that I'm too fond of. The thing that has been bothering me the most this week is just all this news of like the new inflation. It makes me so uncomfortable.
Understandably, it's a big concern for everyone, especially you guys over there. It does for anyone who's a close ally who gets asked suddenly, can you loan us a couple trillion? I mean, that's most of our UK budget, so your answer from us is no.
Mm-hmm.
We like you, but we don't like you that much.
Right.
Not like that. I mean, you can go and befriend some Saudi princes or invade them if you like for the oil.
I guess we could do that, but I thought we were friends with them. That being said, oh my God, Afghanistan is a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people are blaming Trump on this one for the and
I think that's rich.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one. I think troops have to go back.
They stopped him from withdrawing the troops. Remember?
I do remember. I think troops have to go back. Whether or we all just pull out and leave it. I like that someone tweeted out earlier. If you could summarize the situation in Afghanistan in 5 words, what would it be? And someone wrote, "Children taste freedom. Now uneducated," or something like that. And I thought that's trash. That's a really shit take from the whole situation.
Yeah,
we were training them, yes, but we just weren't able to train enough of them to protect themselves.
We wasted so much money. We wasted so much money trying to train these guys, and
it didn't work.
The idea that they run away, right? So one of the major issues is that they see a bad guy, doing bad things, and they're like, oh, fuck that. And they leave. They don't engage in the same way that Americans do. We don't. I think the Afghan people have a hard time holding on to the same kind of appreciation or passion for their country like the Americans of the UK do. I think because Afghanistan's tumultuous history, especially in the last 20 years, obviously this is multi-generational at this point.
Yeah.
I think that they don't possess the the passion for their government, for their nation that we would expect of our people. I think that's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the major reasons why we have this problem right now. I don't know what to do with it, honestly. People have been talking about how they're going to be like having to rescue people off of fucking rooftops and shit. Okay. Like, I guess we have to do that. It's a weird flex, weird thing to mention, but sure. That's what happens when we didn't take care of our own people first. So the allies that actually spent the effort to put themselves in harm's way, we didn't go and get. So yeah, we might have to evac some people so that they don't get killed by the Taliban. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's pretty fair. All things considered, we need to get those people.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've wasted so much time, effort, money, lives, and it's for nothing. That's really sad. I think that's really fucking sad.
I agree. 100% agree with you on this one. And I'm not entirely sure what the solution would be for that. We had discussed this before about global police and all that kind of stuff, and it's not, is it our responsibility? Is it not? And should we be involved? Should we not be involved? It's such a horrible situation for anyone to be involved in, sorry. In the chat, someone's asked me if I want to talk about the Plymouth shooting. I'll quickly touch upon it. A man called Jake Davison, he shot and killed 5 people on Thursday. 2 of those would be his mother, and one is his mother. Yep. He then went on to kill a 3-year-old girl called Sophie, her father Lee, and 2 others called Kate Shepard and Stephen Washington. This guy, Jake, he had a number of videos online talking about his being 23 years old, how the world, 22-year-old, how the world was beating him down, how he couldn't get anywhere, how he was still a virgin at 22, how he was, done with everything, so he killed 5 people and then killed himself with a gun. People have drawn comparisons to this in Gamergate, drawn comparisons to this in obviously Mr. Rogers, and others. People mention there are articles already circulating telling everyone what an incel is, being some kind of online hateful, bigoted women-hating bloke. I can't say much more on it than that at the moment because I don't know how this could fit in politically with the UK just yet, and I certainly can't cover it in a video on my main channel. Beyond saying that the comparisons to Gamergate are disingenuous, there isn't much I can contribute because I don't know much more beyond this.
They're fundamentally wrong.
Yes. Consumer movement, man with gun killing 5 people. Not even remotely the same. I won't say much. I can't say any more than that because that's all I know so far. We should, because we haven't done this yet, talk about mandatory vaccinations.
Mm-hmm.
Go on, Trups. It's your president, after all.
Oh, what do you mean? You guys have vaccine passports before me, but okay.
Sleepy Joe, sleepy. It hasn't been passed yet. We have a political recess. So
I saw a video of of you guys, or at least a group of people, outside of a what was it? It was a news station, I think. And absolutely fucking getting into it with the police, getting handsy with the police. In fact, I was like, oh shit, the British remember how to be fucking.
Oh, okay, I remember. Right, there was a policewoman there wearing like the head covering hair thing, hijab. Is
Yeah.
that it? And she was in the news
Yeah.
considered some kind of hero police officer, even though in it she looked clueless and wasn't actually doing anything. Like she didn't know how to do a job. And then it came out shortly after that she on Twitter has been supporting the Taliban.
What?
Yeah.
My god!
And I was like, you've just championed this person, and her Twitter histories are being shoved in your face. You bellends.
Oh my god!
I thought that was the funniest thing from those protests. All those police officers getting all handsy and shoving, and she was at the front. She wasn't really doing anything. She looked clueless. She barely put a hand on anyone. Like very like a first day on the job, tentative. Yeah, and then had championed, and then Taliban support. All right,
That's amazing and awful.
That is. But mandatory vaccinations, courtesy of Joe Biden. Go.
So, the mandatory vaccination situation. Haha.
Do you support mandatory vaccines?
Absolutely fucking not.
Nor do I.
I think that is the biggest fucking bullshit ever. So the idea that suddenly with a virus that scientists have now been saying that is probably going to be common, it's going to be there more often. We're going to see this continuously. With a virus like that, people have been losing their absolute minds. For all intents and purposes, we're looking at something that, for the most part, works in the way of your seasonal flu. If this thing is going to stay around, and it's going to mutate, and it's going to require us to do continuous booster shots and all that stuff, it's going to work, for the most part, like a seasonal issue.
I said this last year. I said that when the winter comes, this is going to get worse, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
Summer it was going to be less of an issue because the heat was keeping it. It was actually helping us.
Mm-hmm.
No one listened.
So okay, we've got that going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so mandatory vaccinations have been put in place in, California, for certain locations, certain cities. New York City is the most commonplace, as people have been talking about the most. And we've had several companies that have mandated vaccinations for their respective employees. Biden has implemented mandatory vaccinations for federal employees and Pentagon officials. And if you don't get the vaccine, the other option that you have is that you must either submit to a PCR test every fucking week, I think it is.
PCR?
So that would be your that would be your COVID test.
Oh, the nose thing.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Never
had one.
Oh well, they're
my sister, my older sister, has that too for work when she was at the school looking after kids. I don't envy anyone that has to have that. IR solitary, so IR don't need one.
Yes, it's not fun. So all of those, and then let's see, what else do you have to do? Can't remember. I can't remember the other ones. I can't remember the other places that have mandatory vaccinations. But so basically, the idea is that they are trying to stem the spread of this Delta, not Lambda yet, but Delta variant of the COVID-19 virus. And they believe that it is in the best interest of the safety of others and their employees to mandate that everybody get some form of medical treatment, regardless of their health, advice from their primary care physicians, or fucking their own personal choice. So, I am in staunch opposition of this. I'm basically in staunch opposition of any mandatory you must do this kind of thing. So the mask mandates that are going on in schools, for instance.
Mm-hmm. Not in our schools, but okay.
In our schools, they have certain states have implemented mandatory masks, and in some places have actually banned the use of mandatory mask mandates. Notably, Oklahoma, Iowa, Texas, South Carolina, Florida, and I think one more state, can't remember right now. But they've actually banned implementing mandatory mask mandates. I think that, and I got into arguments about this in the past, the idea that one is going to put forth a policy that compels you to do a certain thing, I think is wrong. By contrast, and this is what people did not like about Governor DeSantis and Greg Abbott, and in there saying, no, you may not put in place a mandatory mask mandate, is that the difference between compelling somebody to not do something is very different than compelling somebody to do something. So if I tell you, you must wear a school uniform, it's very different than if I said, you may not wear, let's just say, a tank top.
Right.
It allows a certain amount of freedom because one says, must do this. And if you don't do this, bad thing. Versus, you may not compel somebody to do that thing. They may do that thing based on their own opinions or beliefs or their own decision making, but you may not mandate it. I think that's fair, honestly, because when you mandate that somebody does something, you are actually forcing their action to do, to actually comply. It's very, very different. And to kind of add on to that, they are mandating certain vaccines in places like San Francisco and New York City just to go, and Louisiana in particular. New Orleans is a big one right now. To enter into restaurants, bars, theaters, large events, sporting events, that kind of thing, which is going to severely limit any kind of tourism coming into that city. I mean, completely make it fucking null and void, because the moment that somebody says, I don't have one, I don't have a vaccine, or I don't have a PCR test on hand, then they can't go in and spend money at that city's establishment. And on top of that, that means that, okay, if you're a family and you have a child with you of, let's say, 12 or younger, then they can't get the vaccine. So does that mean that they're not allowed in that establishment? The vast majority of people say yes. That is what those people who have instituted these mandatory vaccines have said, that if you have your child, they cannot go into a restaurant.
Was it Phil DeFranco, I think, tweeting about mandating
I lost my shit, dude.
You know what the tweet I'm talking about, then,
don't you? I saw that fucking tweet. Oh, yes, I did.
I saw that, and I have to admit, I did retweet it, I think, with what's up, you beautiful fuck faces, because that's what he was calling those who don't get it. I think that's such a dangerous area to try.
Yeah, I understand.
I used to watch this guy religiously, and I didn't realize he was this much of a, that much of a authoritarian, I guess, on Twitter.
Ever since Trump, well, a little before Trump, he has gone down, dude. I mean, it's been bad what he's been doing. Just for reference for everybody, the tweet that he said was, lol, imagine having the eligibility and access to get the vaccine and saying, nah. Also, To the pearl clutchers offended by this tweet, yes, I'm calling you stupid, and you can go fuck yourself, you ignorant, selfish fuckface. Kissy face. I'm sorry, not sorry, but you're a dick.
I was considering bringing it up in this week at Twitter, but it's too controversial. It really is.
Is it?
It is for the main channel. I've got to be so careful. I'm so close to 100k, man. Got to be careful.
Mm.
Got to be careful. Got to be careful. I just want to draw attention to something else now that I've thought about it.
Sure.
This is people talking about the Delta variant and the next one being the Lambda variant. Okay, so to get to the Delta, we'd have had to gone through Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. So I'm assuming Alpha is the one we would normally know as, commonly know as, call the China virus. And what would be Beta and Gamma? The UK version? And who's the other one? Doesn't matter.
There was one in Italy in particular that they had found. There was another one in India.
Let's just go through this. To get from Delta to Lambda, you have Epsilon, Zeta, Eta, Theta, Iota, Kappa. Which ones are they? You're skipping Greek letters here. I'm getting triggered.
Yes, quite right.
I will not tolerate this. I like these letters. So
I like these letters. How dare you not give them the respect they deserve.
I like the Greek alphabet, all right? I like it.
I'm partial to it myself.
I'm assuming, by the way, if we get to Omega, then suddenly it's like Plague Inc., and you only got like 60,000 people left. You're fucked.
So the funny thing about Plague Inc. is I've made analogies in private conversation about this, is that usually when the viruses start mutating, they actually become easier to lose at that point.
Yeah, because everyone's on you.
Yeah, well, not only that, but you also have an issue where what's it called? As they mutate certain symptoms, that they can have a breakthrough through one of your symptoms that mimics like tuberculosis.
Oh yeah.
You lose that way because fucking hell, I can't. They just suddenly got a 30% fucking research boost. That happens in that game.
Yeah, I played that on Twitch when we were in lockdown, and I literally called it the COVID plague stream or something. I had Ferret teach me how to play it, and we're like, let's call this one COVID. What is it? Bacteria. It's not COVID, then, is it? Damn it.
Yeah, fair.
It's so the idea of an interstate travel mandated vaccine. I assume, based on what I'm seeing in the YouTube chat, I think we can all agree here, bad idea. I'll quickly then touch upon this. Australia testing out a technology for social distancing trackers. What are your thoughts with it?
So this sounds like a lot of like what you guys had with your app.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Track and trace.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, your app actually caused about 75% of your workforce to stay home.
So it's caused 600,000 are being sent home, constantly being sent home. Businesses being shut down because of anyone being pinged, and it's actually compounded with another issue in the form of Brexit trade, which is causing what they call food shortages. But I haven't seen any yet. Like, I legit have been in shops. I have not seen any shortages. Unless we're talking warehouses that aren't as full as they used to be. In which case, that's not a huge issue. We can just import it if we need to. Or, we can just, not eat as much, you fat bastards. It's not difficult. True. I mean, I don't know. Learn to count your calories? I don't know. It's a bit of a non-issue, really, but it's been made into a bigger one because of the issue with people being sent home all the time, which is not helpful in the slightest. But I don't care, really. There are two.
Well, it causes a massive disruption in at least in your national trade.
It does. It 100% does. But we have issues with the trade anyway concerning EU. And the fact that apparently the person in charge of negotiating these deals is actually inept. which doesn't surprise me. They're a Conservative MP after all. They're not very good at doing trade. They're better at rolling over and showing their belly, like a Republican. No offense intended to anyone who's a Republican, but you're
right. But damn it.
Sorry. We have 2 more subjects left to cover. The first one is Mark Levin saying it's time to start talking about the 25th Amendment. What are your thoughts about that? Or have we already discussed that before?
I think we had last week, but
Yeah.
just for sake of it all, we can touch upon it again.
No, it was a different person. It wasn't Mark Levin. It was someone. It was the doctor, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a former Trump White House doctor.
Was that Levin or was it someone else?
Someone else.
Okay, so someone else is mentioning it this time. Okay. Although, to be fair, it's only the Conservative commentators that are saying it and they're not getting much in the way of traction. Let's go with that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to impeach the zombie. All right?
So they kind of need to, though. They kind of do. But the thing is, and this is why they don't want to, they call Kamala Harris unelectable.
She is unelectable. There's no way she... I'm sorry, she can't... She won't... She will never become president unless he resigned during office.
Yes.
Her history as Attorney General is... I'm sorry. It ruined... Tulsi Gabbard ruined her with that. Anyone running against her can ruin her with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. She will not... and I'm sorry... There were better options. I still maintain, if it was Tulsi Gabbard and Biden... She's a better option to freaking Kamala to Harris.
If the Democratic National Convention did not shoehorn in Biden, Bernie would have been the nominee.
He would have been in 2016 as well.
Yes, he would have. I don't know necessarily if that would have been good or bad.
Not sure.
I'm just going to say that it would have been that way.
I do remember saying that in 2016, I did believe that Bernie would have beaten Trump.
I think so too. I think in 2016, Bernie definitely would have been. Yeah, not in 2020 because just the sheer ability for Trump to generate capital, and basically. The America First policies really resonated with a lot of people. The populist right really wasn't catered to a lot of the time. So when Trump finally did do it, it struck a chord with a lot of people. And I think that's why in 2020 they needed to put somebody like Biden up because
establishment.
They could establishment and a known face. And not only that, but Barack Obama's VP, right?
That to be honest, that alone hides the fact that he has said some incredibly questionable and racist things in the past. It easily covers the fact that he has got some weird, creepy uncle stuff going on. The sniffing thing is weird. Okay.
Did you see him do another one?
Yes, I've seen them all.
Yeah,
they're compilations.
No, he did another one like this week. There was another picture.
He sniffed it, and his first thought was, "Oh, that's what my care home smells like."
Oh no! Oh god! It was at a signing for the January 6th thing. Something on January 6th. He had a press conference, and he was signing something, and there's just this horrible fucking picture of this girl who is utterly fucking terrified of this man's, and I'm trying to go through my likes on Twitter to see if I can find it. But it is bad. It is bad, friend. So he can't stop. He can't help himself at this point, I don't think.
No, but it won't affect him negatively because he's establishment. He is propped up by the biggest corporations, even though he wants to hammer them with taxes, which he won't because he's corporate America. He's the avatar of that. He'll drive to the middle of the road and he'll sit there. He'll do the few things that might seem popular to the quote progressive youth, but he actually won't. And you know he won't do things for people because it took him so long to do the simplest of things, like, I don't know, keep his promise about giving people 2,000, which I don't believe he did. It was wasn't it? They got 600 and then they got 1,400 or something. It's just no. He's corporate America. That's what he is.
Yeah, he is.
Say the big words, do nothing.
It wasn't even like it wasn't even like big words. He uses very small words. I use very small words.
The thing is, those words could be big words, but sadly, he has a certain number of syllables he's allowed to use before his brain says, "We're done here." It just phones it in and goes, "You've exceeded your syllable quota for this paragraph. Kindly stop so we can have someone else ask a question and save your arse."
Indeed.
Don Lemon here.
I'm retweeting that picture real quick.
Oh, God. Retweet it on the Moisky thing.
Oh, do you want me to? Sure.
Yeah, fuck it. We use that Twitter. I haven't for the last 2 weeks because I forgot. Also, I've been busy with wedding stuff, so
I'll retweet it on mine so that I can easily retweet myself.
Brilliant. Self-promotion. I'm okay with that.
Yes, I'm also going to follow some of the things.
The final thing we're going to touch upon, it was meant to be Cuomo last, but Trump's found a seamless transition for it. We're going to talk about the census quickly. In the UK, you have options. In the US as well, I'm sure you see it. There was an article I saw circulating saying that for the first time in America's history, white people are on the decline. That's interesting. I don't really care. It just proves the race realist's right, I guess. But in the United Kingdom, the term Black English was trending. And this is interesting because the reason why is on the census in the UK, Black English is not an option. And I find that I actually, in this instance, have to agree with David Lammy, a black politician who thinks this is incorrect. And I agree with him. You have white English on there as an ethnic group. Why don't you have Black English? It makes perfect sense. But also, I would include Black Welsh, Black Scottish, Black Northern Irish. I think it's an important aspect of recognising people in this country and not just simply assuming that they are African or Caribbean. Don't even get me started on the term African American. It is inaccurate.
Reductive, I believe the word is.
It is reductive, but it's a discussion.
I don't even know if Black English would even be a correct thing to say. Like, why can't you just say, like, Black Native?
There is that, I think,
like native born.
It's just how
natural born.
I don't want this to be tautology, but white English has always been what it was. You know, that's always been recognised. So he's just inserting it as Black English because it's a way of just acknowledging it on par rather than change the whole thing entirely. But there you could make an argument for Black native, white native. That certainly could, but I don't think the word native would fly in the United Kingdom.
That's fair.
It's a very... Well, when we think native, we think Aborigine. We think your fellows with the feathers in their caps.
Right.
Their tomahawks, which I love. I'm kidding. We think of anything but that. We think Inuit. We think, Eskimo. I don't know which one it is anymore these days. You know what I mean? It's anything but the people who actually... but in this instance, I tend to agree with him because if you're going to recognise a racial group and a nationality for them, then yeah, you should. You recognise all the others, why not them? Which is where I think is also another interesting aspect that's been missing on the census. How do you recognise everyone but not them?
Good question.
So he has a point.
But I don't like it.
I don't either. But race is always featured on these things, and it always will. And how do you properly address it? I don't know. Until such time comes about that someone says that it's socially acceptable, which it isn't yet, to be any race you want, which you can't be, unless you're suddenly a chameleon, which, last I checked, they are not human. You might be hard-pressed to erase the whole concept of race or change it to such a way that is more accurate. Let's go with that. Yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
I have nothing else to add to that. Or any other subject to talk about, by the way. I did have others in our tab, because as you may have noticed, I've been collecting stuff for the last 2 weeks. But a lot of it's bollocks, quite frankly. It was stuff I started... I was going to do political videos on, and then I got so busy this week, I didn't even bother. I'm exciting.
Indeed.
I might do one tomorrow for Monday, and then just... because I'm not here Monday. Anyway, as we're done, is there anything Trubs would like to say, talk about, or shill?
Not today, no.
Okay.
No, I don't have anything this
Well,
time.
tomorrow evening, will be streaming on my gaming YouTube channel called Omegon Plays with my dear friend Dave. I haven't set the stream up yet because I don't believe he gets here until 2 hours after I normally stream, but he has to eat first. So tomorrow evening on that channel, I will be doing a 2-hour trucking stream, but he's going to be driving in a truck that both of us hate, which is the best part of this. And for him, it's even worse because he drives cars in the United Kingdom, but I have the steering all set up for European American. The pedals are the wrong way round for him.
Oh, no.
It's the best thing ever. So if you're interested, please consider going there and enjoying it with us, because we just chit-chat, we'll drink. I won't be here from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I might get a video sorted for Monday on the main channel, because I've got to go to my sister's wedding. So, if anything, you'll see me on Twitter, because I'll probably be bored out of my fucking brains. This will be on Spotify tonight, because I'm going to do it once we finish. Please consider following us there. So, thank you all for joining. We shall be back on Friday, unless Trups wants to tell me now or after the stream that he has friends over again.
No, we will be here.
Brilliant. I have nothing planned either, so we'll see you Friday, 9:30 p.m. GMT on whatever day Friday, yeah. Thank you for joining again. Say goodnight, Trups.
Good night, Trups.